Good afternoon, everybody. And here I'm with two of this team panelists to discuss about a very interesting topic, which is IT in manufacturing. So as you guys know, at the core of any healthy economy is manufacturing. It's no matter what other sectors come up, manufacturing remains the core. And in this globalized market, this is becoming increasingly important for the manufacturing to invest more and more into new technology. And technology is one of the reasons for this resurgence of manufacturing. We see, and we are already seeing how much the rise of automation and robotics is happening in many sectors. For example, if you see, some of the restaurants now are using even to deliver the foods and deploying self-ordering kiosks to the customers. There are driverless cars in California, Washington, and Texas. We all are working in our car industry. We have this is one of the biggest projects we are right now working on our driverless cars. Amazon works with 15,000 robots who are working along with the 50,000 humans. So you see, in many factories, if you go outside, there are robots and robots all around. They are the ones who are becoming more and more sophisticated, more and more adept in performing complex tasks. So the differentiation with the humans are slowly, gradually, it is narrowing down. And the advantage of robotics, automation, and not only that, there are a lot of things also happening in manufacturing. So I take this opportunity here to introduce two of my esteemed panelists here. Before that, about me, I am Prakash. Some of you might be knowing me. I'm the head of IT for BMW Group India. I'm working with BMW for last 7 years, and I have in total 25 years in the IT industry. I have seen the change which has happened in manufacturing. But two of my colleagues, I'll give the floor to them to introduce themselves. They have also a huge amount of experience in manufacturing, and we will discuss in the next few minutes how it is shaping up in the manufacturing world. So Jitendra ji, just introduce yourself to the audience here.
Thank you, Prakash. Good afternoon, all. I am Jitendra, as Prakash already mentioned, and for more than 31 years of experience. So, kind of been working for more than 3 decades in the manufacturing space only, and multiple industries, in fact. And privileged to be here. Otherwise, it's a privilege to be with Manish and Prakash ji for an interesting discussion, which has actually taken attention now. We were already working on it for the last, as I said, there for 3+ decades have been working. So, and like Prakash is also there for almost 3 decades only. Not wanting to call you old, Prakash, but otherwise, so it's 2.5 decades to be precise.
Yeah.
But yes, that kind of experience is definitely beneficial, and we've seen IT, or rather digital and IT space, graduating from the EDPs of the world to this level. So it would be good to discuss things forward, and we have a new generation also coming forward. So I'll hand it over to Manish to carry it forward, please. Thank you.
So I'm Manish, and I'm from Patanjali. I have around more than 20 years of experience now. Again, it's a 2 decade, and in manufacturing industry, I have around more than 12 years of experience. Otherwise, I have the experience into the multiple domain of software development industry, KPOs. Then you can say into the education industries also. So I have the versatile experience into even the aviation industry also, automobile industries also. So I have like experience into the multiple domains of manufacturing, services, development kind of thing. Okay, and so though I'm a newbie among all the two big people are sitting here, but I have also seen like drastic changes in the past 5 to 7 years. If we talk about the automation into the industry, earlier everything was like, you can say, we have started the industry from the man to machine, then machine to now the things came to the robotics. Okay, so earlier things was done by the mans by hand, then the things was developed by the machines. Now the things are developing, not man, not machine, then these are the robotics. In the robotics, what we required, definitely we require the data as the input, output, and the top of it, we require the intelligence system sitting on the top of it. So that that robot, which is a interface between machine and a human intelligence, and can do the predictive analysis also, and can make the decision, and definitely that can help to overall, that we call the OE, overall equipment efficiencies also, that can help us in improving the OE also of the company, then definitely improving into the somehow like sometimes like for the utilities also, how we can best utilize our utilities so that we can cut the cost, and definitely that can help the company to save the money in the product production also, and definitely can help the nation also, so that the less power, less resources are used, and that is good for the nature earth also. So in Patanjali also, like we are doing multiple automation project that is starting from like capturing the data from the machines, from the utilities, then analytics, then making the decisions. Right now we are working on the AI, so that right now the decision part is mostly done by the human beings, but definitely we are working on towards the AI part also, so that AI and ML can make the decision and can improve the productivity into the plant industries, into the manufacturing.
So Manish, just to ask you here, this triggered some thoughts here. One of the key important thing which is happening in manufacturing, which we call it as smart manufacturing. As we see the machines who can talk to each other via internet, it can work together. Means a machine understands the other machines, that when it has to plan the downtime, how can it minimize the errors, improve the quality, and improve the labor productivity also. The wastes getting reduced, production cost getting reduced. The Internet of Things is earlier, if you see a few years back, it was only in literature. But now see, with the advanced software and connectivity, as well as the very low cost sensors. Earlier the sensors were expensive, but now the sensors are like commodities, and you can put it anywhere, capture the data and make it happen. So there is a huge amount of investment which is happening in the smart manufacturing.
Right.
So in Patanjali, or means in your experience, how do you see this smart manufacturing evolving? What are the key initiatives which is being taken, and what you see is coming forward in this?
So I think that like the industry already start adapting and adopting the smart manufacturing because of the COVID. Right. So we know well, like most of the industries, they shut down because of the COVID, and they were running with the scarcity of the resources like manpower. So most of the manufacturing company, they are moving towards the smart manufacturing. The smart manufacturing start from the gathering the raw material, going to the workbench, then doing the production, then doing the packaging, and after then till the supply chain what we have, right? So this is a complete cycle of the smart manufacturing. So in the smart manufacturing, definitely like like earlier, like if you talk about the 10 year or 20 years before, machine was cheaper than the electronics item. So electronics was too costly. So nobody was able to adapt that technology, because like we know that like much costly that a lathe machine can tens of lathe machine can come in that cost, right? Then slowly what is happening now, so the electronics industry is growing, and then the cost is we are cutting down the cost in comparative to the manpower also, like the cost of the money we are inducing for the manpower, and the cost of the things what is done by the robotics or electronics item. Okay, so if we see that overall efficiency while doing the production nowadays almost equivalent to what the mans are doing and what the machine is doing. If you are talking about the like with the terms of the capex and opex, if you do the overall analysis of the total cost induced into the manufacturing industry. Okay, so definitely what we require, right? All the electronics item that we call the plug-in, or that we call the maybe they are capturing the values. Sometimes like we have. So we have so many different devices for the different type of things for the smart manufacturing, where they keep on reading the values, and definitely they are giving the instructions also. right? What is okay, what is not. Like if I give the example of in a bottling plant of Patanjali, right? So seeing that when we are filling the bottle, right? So what is the, how much it is filled, right? It is filled 50%, it is filled 60%, 70%, 80%. If it is filled more than 80%, or like something is coming out, it will be thrown outside from the packing unit. Okay, we'll move to the by a robotic arm. Okay, where the sensor is reading that how much the into the bottle. Okay, so definitely that is helping us improving the production also and the quality. Because robotics, like if you talk about the AIML, so the purpose of the AIML is always a learning model. Humans,
Yes.
we learn, but
Yes.
what age we learn? We learn up to 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Then we have a life of 80 years or 60 years, right? So all the 60 years of learning is going waste when a human being is working, right? But if we talk about an AIML machine is working, we can have the life of years, right?
Absolutely.
1,000 years and
It's a
10,000 years.
very noble
Right.
thought, actually.
Right.
This
So,
is a,
so that can be useful for a machine, same machine, and that same data can be used by the other manufacturing industries also, or somewhere else also in a different process. So I think that like bringing the AIML is a very nice thought, right? Because we are saving our information, right? What
okay.
I learn, if machine will learn, it will keep the information for a longer period, and definitely it can do the better analytics also. Because I have so many, also I have my family, I have my professional life, personal life. But machine is working only as for the professional life, right? So definitely AIML and smart manufacturing will grow the industry, will reduce,
Okay.
improve the
So,
products also.
what I can take out from you think that the learning in the machines can be a very longer period of time. We can accumulate this knowledge and use it more for a very long time.
Yeah,
And
very
you
good.
see, you are using a lot of robotics to minimize your waste, improve your quality.
Yes.
I think, Jitendra ji, I mean, you are from a cement industry, and cement industry, the most important things which I look at from outside is maintenance, energy, and the supply chain. Correct me, I'm talking from an outside sector, but this is what are the three very critical things which you actually work on. So do you see IoT actually helping you out, or robotics helping you out when it comes to your maintenance planning schedules? And also, are you capturing any sort of data which is helping you to reduce your energy consumptions? And the last one is that how are you planning your supply chain? Because for you, it is very critical to manage your supply chain. So, Jitendra ji, over to you, your experience on this.
Right. No, in fact, Manish nailed it completely by giving a use case also, and it was actually a very apt example. Sometimes what happens is that it's not the cost alone, because initially the investment in robotics may be a little higher compared to a manpower, but the kind of efficiencies, efficacies, and the data storage which can help in future as well. The machine is a little wiser by experience when it comes to AIML. So that is very much actually in place. Just a small information here that cement is there for the last 5.5 years only. Before that, it's been fertilizers, it's been a building material, plus cycle industry, plus auto ancillary, plus pharmaceutical. So have seen these things going on. Yes, of course, for the last 4 years, the thrust or the push towards the digitalization, automation, AIML, robotics is at a very higher scale and a very fast pace. And out of the certain things which are positives in pandemic, this is one of them, that digital transformation has actually taken a pace. For coming back to your question, Prakash, it's basically like IoT per se. Yes, now the machine can talk to the machine prior to it and later than it. And they can actually pass on the information that what kind of quality of material is being pushed and what quantity is being pushed. And if there is a breakdown, we do not have a digital twin as yet, but yes, because of the data collected so far and in a real-time analytics mode, we can find out that which machine or which equipment can go down, especially for the newer plants. Older plants, we are in the process of putting up sensors wherein we may use it in future, because we are good almost half a century old organization. So we have the age of the plants ranges from 50 years to 1 year, coming in a decreasing mode, so descendant mode. So then in the newer plants, and in fact even the older ones, the CCRs are there, the control rooms are there. So when it comes to SCADA and DCS of the world, it's been there in the manufacturing industry for long. And they give you an insight wherein a person can decide. What has changed since then? It's that now machine can also decide on its own. And based on historical data, based on the intelligence it has now, the dependency on a human brain has reduced, thereby reduction in the downtime. And there is a predictive and a preemptive alarm you can have that this machine might go down, or you may have a problem out here, or if there is something going wrong or something is reaching or crossing the threshold, the auto stoppages also in the critical areas wherein it could be hazardous also, it could actually bring the entire plant down. The machine can also stop on its own. And then the next step is actually the alarms and alerts to the engineers and the instrumentation chiefs, wherein they can take a call, even right sitting at their home itself, and then take a call and take decisive actions on it. So what has happened is we've been able to reduce the downtime drastically. Number one, we know what may happen. Certain surprises are always there. Even if you have the 100% of automation done, certain surprises could be there. It could be a mechanical fault or something like that, but otherwise. And the MTVF and MTTR is actually optimized today. Number one. Second is the quality parameters, which automatically gets tested through the machine, and there is a very small window of slicing and dicing that data, quote unquote. I hope you understand what I say. Slicing and dicing of data by any individual. So it's automatically picked up from the machines, and we have a clear and crisp information available with us. Where did we go wrong batch wise? Where are we going right? If my energy consumption in previous 5 days was optimum, what led to this? Which kind of tuning at individual equipment level is it actually useful? Yes or no? If useful, can we fix those settings so that whenever the threshold is crossed, the machine itself brings it down? So the time to respond also reduces like anything. Energy consumption, there are two modes to be precise. One is getting energy from the outside. You have your own captive energy, plus you actually get it from the grid also. And the rules and regulations, the legislation is so complex there, you have to bid for it, the energy. And if your bidding is higher than what you have actually consumed, you end up paying penalty. If it is lower than what you've consumed and you need more, you need to pay actually extra money, not on the standard rate, but on a higher rate. So either case, you are at loss. So you have to optimize it to a level based on the historical data that at what capacity I am trying to run, what kind of a raw material I am going to use, what kind of process efficiencies I have in place. Thereby, the analytics can throw me a picture that, well, today you need this much energy. So we are closer to the real or exact. So that near exact quantity has led to a lot of cost savings. And then, of course, the fine tuning of equipment. So one is saving the cost consumed in bidding for the energy. Second is, can we bring down the energy consumption? So that is also one area wherein the individual equipment plays a very, very, very important role. Now, there is one portion, or rather, I'll keep it to the next time, maybe once we go on to the next question. So maybe we can keep it to that. So I think that was it. AI ML, of course, is helping us out. And for the logistics and supply chain, which you spoke about, let me take 30 seconds on that also. We have automated through the in-plant logistics, which is a combination of RFID, the sensors at the packers, loaders, in fact, wherein the auto loader is in place, the auto diverter is in place. After the exact count, you get to know. We have actually embedded a very fine system which is AI ML based, which is a bag counter, plus it also finds out that which are cut and torn bags on a fly. It's not dependent on a particular cam. So, and it's being used using a normal CCTV camera, no specialized cameras. So based on that, what is happening is that we are able to find out the exact quantity, the cut and torn places, the salvages also are actually calculated on an automated mode. And the diverter to the next truck only happens once the quantity is full on a vehicle.
Oh.
So that's one area. And then of course the RFID. Then the moment if when the vehicle goes out of my yard, get out, then the GPS takes over. It's in an auto seamless transition mode. And then when it reaches my destination, the receiver has to give a confirmation, which is e-proof of delivery. And then the transportation bill becomes. So what happens is, see, now there are some intangibles also. If my transporter is able to get a proof of delivery faster, they can raise their bill faster. If they can raise their bill faster, I can pay them faster. If they get their payment in time, they do not factorize those delays and hence the interest cost as a burden on them, and I can command a better freight from them.
Mhm.
So these are the areas which are seamlessly interconnected to each other.
Very, very, very insightful. Actually, this is. I think a lot of people would be picking up from here, and very insightful. So means this triggered another thought for Manish, for you. I think supply chain is a very important part of your industry also. It's
Right.
very, very critical. I think I have worked in a FMCG sector earlier, and I know how complex the distributions are. The number of points it has to reach, the number of SKU you have to handle is onerous. It's too huge, and that is the area where I see a lot of automation happening, a lot of things playing a key role. So how are you doing it? Can you just give some insights from your side also on this?
So we are running with the same kind of like what all the industry is running with the warehouses, central warehouses, and then reaching you doing the my super distributor, then distributor, then to the retailers. Okay, so the if you are talking about that specific thing about the FMCG industry is the life of the product, right? So if you can increase the life of the product by 1 day, only by 1 day, by reducing the time during the logistics from the production to the logistic and reaching to the customer, right? So if you can minimize that by 1 day, then you are increasing the life of the product by 1 day, and then you are so definitely everybody everywhere. Like if you go to any industry, life of the FMCG product, maybe every time we keep on getting that 1%, 2% of the product we are not able to sell because of the life. Okay, the product is no more no more has a life. So we are also doing with the help of the GPS tracking, and the same kind of thing we also implemented the RFID, because I came from the JK Cement. and the best benefit of putting the RFID solution is that you can select the vendor who is the best vendor also, who can deliver the best, and who can deliver the fast into that particular area, right? Because we have the different vendors who have the different type of services into the different area. Once you know that this vendor is good into this area, you can select him to do the delivery for the next time, and this vendor is not good, you can deny it also, right? So the benefit of RFID with the GPS is that. Second thing is that if you are talking about, we are into the milk industries also, so where we require the procurement of the milk, then definitely safety of the milk is also very much required, that no mix up should be there. We should have the milk on time in the coolers, so that the milk is not spoiled. So we are using the different methodology, but right now mostly based out on the GPS technology, and then the RFIDs also, and definitely see, this is a complete cycle, right? Supply chain is not only the cycle to the deliver. Supply chain is cycle from when we got the order and when we got the payment. This is the I understand. This is the complete supply chain, right? Where you can earn the money or where you can lose the money, right? If you can predict it very perfectly, you can save the money. If you are not able to predict that, then definitely you can be a loser. So you have to put the check at the different point, not only at the one point of the like delivering the things only, from where you when go the order, when you are procuring the material, because you have the floating money also, then you have to see that like how old I have the raw material when I'm procuring my raw material, when I'm processing that raw material, when I'm putting to the my warehouses, when I'm delivering to the customer. So this is the complete chain of life cycle. Now life cycle is starting from that to that end. So we are doing the different check at the different end, so that definitely we can cut the cost of the logistics also, and definitely we can save the money. So that's why Patanjali products are cheaper than others also.
Wow, that's great to know. We know some business secrets now.
Very well said. Very well put.
Very well said. So it's actually, I go on and talking to you guys. It's so much of a stories you have, and it's a wealth of experience which you are talking of. Jitendra ji, you were just I cut you off last time, but if you wanted to share something
The only thing
on
is actually in
yeah.
course of this automation, there are two things which often get a second priority, which should ideally be priority 0, not even 1, which is the securing your production area.
Okay.
The information security, that layer has to come in between. Otherwise, sharing the data is easy, but securing that data, and especially in today's time, somebody can have a full control of my plant if I've not secured it.
Yeah. This is actually a lot of companies are very specific about it. I know from my experience that we are segregating the entire land and entire structure for the plant separately, and offices are separate. Yeah.
And actually, you said the word. In fact, the segregation of both networks, the commercial and the operational network, somewhere down the line, you have to merge them also. Unless that convergence happen, you do not have the digital dashboards in place. So for that convergence, again, the security comes into picture, and you need to have some kind of a very seamlessness in gelling the data. It could be in the form of a data lake, it could be form in a data warehouse only, or maybe exchange of data. Wherein exchange, in fact, it has to be in a half duplex mode, wherein the plant data only comes. It doesn't have to consume anything actually. So that is one area which I feel that on an ongoing basis we need to work on. And then more and more, if the sales and marketing, like Manish put it very nicely, it's an end-to-end chain. The journey cycle is too big. So within that journey cycle, if we can connect the dots, and if we connect the sales and marketing with the production on a real-time basis, that will be the real.
So that's actually how you are. I'll not put sales and marketing, basically how the manufacturing is connected to the customer directly.
That's much better word actually.
That's how the customer needs are getting. I'm coming from an automotive background, so I can tell you, it's not in India, but if you go to the markets abroad where the cars are actually made based on make to order kind of a basis. So it's the customer who actually defines and decides what is the kind of upholstery he wants, what kind of stuffs he wants in the entire vehicle, and each requirements gets translated back to the manufacturing, and then manufacturing delivers it in that manner. So that's how the manufacturing is getting closer. Yeah.
You're right. So much so, when I was with Jubilant, so I could see this happening in an online ordering of Domino's pizza.
Yes.
The customer could actually select. So it's not.
Yeah. So that's it. I think we have very limited time now. It's a very interesting discussion, and I think the key takeaways which I take it from both of you is that manufacturing is changing, and it's the automation is bringing a lot of change. There are a lot of data which is getting created. The tools and techniques like RFID and is becoming very vogue. SCADAs were there earlier, but now there is more use of sensors and capturing data, predicting maintenance schedule, the machines capturing the machine information, and integrating whole stuff with the entire supply chain. The very important points which Manish actually pointed out, that manufacturing is not standalone. It is now talking to all the functions, and that's how it is changing. And there is a lot of change happening. Manufacturing continue to be the center of the universe in economy, and without manufacturing, nothing will prosper. With this closing points, and I'll take one point from Manish. Actually, I'll from today, what he said, that a human being has a life, but machine, the knowledge of machine can be stored and restored, and you can use it for infinite period of time. Security is a very important thing which you pointed out in the end, Jitendra ji, and that's actually has become very important in the current scenario. So these are the important points which I want to take, and I would like to thank both of you for spending time out here with me, and a lot of people would have picked up these wisdoms from you with your enriching experience over this 2-3 decades of working. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining this, and I would like to thank Enterprise IT World also for giving us an opportunity to interact with all. Any last words from you, Jitendra ji? Yeah.
I think there's a long road to be tread just now, and we've just begun, all of us. So we've started hearing about the AI, ML, and robotics at a larger level in a very fast pace. And I have a gut feeling that within next few months we'll have a blockchain also coming somewhere in between the picture, because it'll eventually impact the quality and control of the entire cycle of it.
Even that will help to improve the purity of the product also, that we call
Absolutely.
quality of the product also. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.